is the motivation.
Trying to die wealthy, and will I die healthy? And I've been looking myself without a mirror or selfie. All come from 2 and 2, doing me, you doing you. What they killing for? Somebody hit them with a 2 and 2. Told them stay low and out the way, yeah, doing through. Gonna play the hood, know what's good, know who is who. Matter of fact, you know what is what. You can play the cut and get cut, they watch you bubble up. If you from the slums and you poor, yeah, double up. Word to Nip, word to all the Crips, get your hustle up. And get the money for the re-up. You rockin' with the host, I'm about to throw the G up. Money ain't got no owners, only spenders. You ain't got bread for the crib, get a lender. You ain't got goals, my nigga, switch your agenda. I'm trying to get land and some trees to save timber. Used to hustle in Zims, maybe them 4 night checks. Now I'm up 4 days straight for 4 night checks. And I ain't talking verified shit. You could go and ask the hood, they can verify shit. I'm the illest MC, need that clarified shit. If you
Peace and blessings. This is DVJ&MICHELLE. This is a Cold World podcast. We're coming to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, y'all. It is Hump Day. June 11, 2025. Let's get to this episode, y'all. Enjoy the music clips and the content. So that's Burning Spear in the background, too, for the background music today. So I did some more research. I mean, a lot of this information I already know and are aware of. You know what I mean? Just because of my personal experience being in prison and stuff and being around individuals of Latin descent that were either being, come and snatched up by ICE, upon completion of their sentence or whatever, so. But I looked up some information to see how many, or at least to get a rough number of how many illegal immigrants, all right? Just going to use their phrase. So the amount of illegal immigrants that are here in this country, the United States, that have been convicted of crimes. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the people that Donald Trump and his people, his goons, see, what they want you to believe is that most of the individuals that are being rounded up and stuff like that and sent out the country and all that kind of stuff, ones they're saying are horrible people and all this shit like that, okay. So here's the reality of it. A lot of them individuals that they talk about, because you can even hear it, just pay attention, like when Trump's talking, right? Like just last night he was at some rally, I think at Fort Bragg or some shit like that, and he was saying how a lot of the illegal migrants are coming from prisons and all that. So if they're coming from prisons, that means that they're here in the country, they committed a crime, they got sentenced to prison, they did time, they're either still in prison or they got released and they're out on parole and probation. So they've been punished for the crimes that they've committed, but what Trump and his people will have you believing is that like these people are just now freshly committing all these crimes, or that like ICE is out running around looking for them and there's all these like wanted fugitives on the street and shit like that, and they're finding them in the cracks and crevices of the streets and stuff like that. That's the narrative that they're putting out there. Like they're running around looking for for millions of people and shit. When in reality, they're here and they know where they are. Look, I got these numbers. I've been telling y'all this. So this is a report from ICE to Congress shows that 662,566 non-citizens under ICE supervision, that means probation and parole basically, under ICE supervision, that means that people are out, they did time, they were here illegally or whatever, right? They committed a crime, they got arrested by the police just like everyone else that commits a crime in the United States. If you get caught, you get arrested, they take your ass to jail, You get charged with whatever, you go back and forth to court, and you get to sentence to prison or probation or whatever, right? It's the same for illegal migrants when they come here. They end up committing a crime, they get arrested, they go through the court system just like we do. And they go to prison here in the United States just like we do. Some of them, when their sentence is up, ICE comes and gets some of them and deports them. Sometimes ICE doesn't, and they let them out on probation and parole here. So it says 662,566 non-citizens under ICE supervision with criminal convictions or pending criminal charges. That's here in the United States, y'all. So 435,719 have been convicted of crimes. Here in the United States, that means they were convicted by a judge for the crime or whatever that they committed. And it says 226,847,000 have pending charges. Here in the United States. So that means ICE and they know where they're at, they know what they're doing because they have probation and parole agents. And that's what we're talking about. Like, some of them people are going to see their parole agent thinking it's just a regular day. They're going and they're getting snatched up by ICE. That's bullshit. But they're doing everything that you're telling them that they need to do. They've done prison time and got released. So they've been punished. Think about it, y'all. Come on. It says, among those convicted but not in ICE custody. That's what I was just talking about. Because a lot of times, people would be here, they get convicted of crime, they do their prison sentence, and they get released into our community. Among those convicted but not in ICE custody, 13,099 homicide convictions, 15,811 sexual assault convictions, 62,231 assault convictions, 10,031 robbery convictions, 56,533 dangerous drug-related convictions, plus others, e.g. weapons, burglary, traffic offenses. So out of these 435,719 individuals, well, it says these 435,719 individuals have completed, y'all heard me, have completed criminal sentences or have pending ones, but are not currently in ICE detention. That means that they got released on probation and parole here. Some remain incarcerated in state/local prisons. Some are free on parole, as I just said, and others are subject to immigration monitoring, such as check-ins or ankle monitors. So this does not mean that they're roaming freely immediately post-prison. Many are still in state-local custody, on ICE non-detained docket, meaning they await immigration hearings or are under alternative supervision, probation and parole. Like I'm just telling you, I know what I'm talking about, y'all, unfortunately. So not just recent years, many convictions date back far earlier. State/other agencies may refuse ICE detainers, so some are released due to that policy, even if convicted. That's what I'm telling you. So, you know what I mean? So at least 435,719 non-citizen offenders completed sentences, prison sentences, y'all, and are not in ICE custody. This includes some undocumented immigrants. Of those, tens of thousands were convicted of serious crimes like homicide, sexual assault, robbery, and drug offenses. See? So that's what I'm saying, y'all. So the bottom line, well documented, 436,000 non-citizens convicted of crimes released from ICE detention or custody, broken down by offense type. Yeah, so you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, don't fall for the okie doke. So these people that, like, they're coming here and they're committing crimes, they're being punished, they're going to prison and all that. So, you know, don't get lost in the sauce and think that people are out here just running around free and they're not. You know, if they do something, they don't go to jail and all that. These people have been convicted of crimes and have done their prison sentence, have been punished. So why should they be punished again? Like, if you didn't want them here, then why didn't you kick them out the country way back then when you arrested them for whatever crime they originally committed? That's what I'm saying. Now that you know, no one truly cares about immigration. Not truly. not super truly. No one cares that migrants here. They've been here forever. Forever. Forever and ever. And it's always going to be like that. So what's the problem? These phony-ass fake barriers. Stolen land. That's why when people ask me about immigration and what I do, well, how do you feel? I feel like everyone should be able to be in this damn country. These are fake borders, man-made borders, and stolen land that the white man stole. So, you know what I mean? If anyone should be leaving, it should be them. The bad whites. They should be getting the hell out of this country. And all the white supremacist people, those are the domestic terrorists. Why don't we ever hear about them and the pedophiles and shit? Why isn't there more of an effort to get rid of them, kick them out the country, send them to Annihilation Island? All right, y'all. Let's get back to this episode, though. Michelle's still navigating through life without her phone. Well, you know, she got the T-Mobile or whatever, switched over. What exactly happened, baby? Why is it taking so long for you for your phone to turn back on?
Well, my phone bill was due with AT&T. Like, it wasn't late, it was just due this week. And you can't switch your lines.
So she switched services, basically.
Yeah. And you can't switch if there's, like, a balance, obviously. So I paid that. But, like, it takes 48 hours for it to, like, post to your account.
Which we didn't think it was going to take that long, because the lady was like, oh, it never takes that long, but it's taking that long.
It's usually a couple hours.
It's been a couple of days now.
Right.
But, you know, we went on and she downloaded that little, I'm sure y'all aware of that. It's like a text now app or whatever. And, you know, you basically can make phone calls and text.
But you have to be connected to Wi-Fi.
Right, but you have to have a Wi-Fi. Yeah.
So, like, if I was out and about and needed to call somebody, I couldn't.
Right. So now she's basically waiting for...
It should be today because I did that all on Monday.
Yeah. But it's crazy because on your phone, you can still use the internet and all that stuff, but you just can't call out or text.
Right. As long as I'm connected to a Wi-Fi, I can use all my apps.
Right. That's why I saved my other phone, the other phone I got. I was like, you know what, I'm keeping this because I can just use this.
Right.
For a while, you know, like as long as I'm near a Wi-Fi, you know, or whatever, I can just use this. It's like, you know, it's like a small laptop, basically.
Right.
Because the phone's paid for and all that. It's, you know, I'm the owner of it. I was like, I'm not throwing this away. This could come in handy one day. So, yeah. Yeah, y'all, but I thought that was crazy what I was telling y'all the information about, you know. Because why do you think, just pay attention now, next time you hear Trump talking about illegal migrants, you know, because he always says the same things. Like, he always has, like, the same handful of phrases or terms that he always says. So when he's talking about migrants and he's talking about the prisons and all, now just pay attention. He's going to say something like, they're coming from insane asylums, they're coming from prisons. And what prisons do you think they're coming from? These ones, here in the United States. Because they've been convicted of crimes.
Right.
That means they're being punished for the illegal activity that they're doing here. They've been arrested, back and forth to court, sent to prison, released from prison, they're out on probation and parole or whatever. So, like, they were punished for the negative stuff they were doing. But let Trump and his boys tell you, they'll make it sound like they'll have people believing that there's a bunch of legal criminals running around here. They're hiding in the cracks and crevices of the walls. Right. And that they're just being rounded up and like they're all being looked for. And like there's just, that's what they have people believing. And like I'm saying, I know better. I told you, I've been in prison. I was next door to a guy that was going through that. His sentence was about to be up. He was not from here. And his name was Alex, too. I don't remember his full name, but we called him Alex. English was fucked up horrible. You could understand him enough to, have a conversation or whatever, but when he was, because his time was about to be up, his sentence, and ICE and them were coming to see him. Because I remember they would call him up. It was called A building. That's where, all the legal stuff is get done, like schooling. That's where visiting is, all that kind of stuff. The chapel, all that, right? Any kind of legal stuff you have going on, you go to the A building. But I remember him going back and forth up there a couple times. Because we were asking him, what are they coming to get? Is ICE coming to get you? And when you get out, are they going to, just let you stay and all that shit? That was like a conversation people were having with dude. And I ended up leaving before him, so I don't know what happened with him, but he was saying how it was up in the air if they were going to release him or not, because they decide that. If you're here in the United States prison, you're an illegal migrant, and you're in prison, when your sentence is about to be up, they determine if ICE is going to intercept you, deport you, or if they're just going to release you to probation and parole here. That's how it goes. So, don't fall for the okie doke. They're making it seem like a bunch of, and if my legal immigration was such a huge deal, why weren't they deporting these people from the second they get committed or they get found? They commit a crime here. Why aren't you deporting them then?
Right.
What do you think, baby?
I just think, I don't know why you have to be so extreme. I do, because everything he does is, extreme over the top, right?
Right, he'll turn things that are 5 into a 20.
Like how he said that all the protesters are, paid protesters.
Yeah, where the hell did that come from?
Because he wants to make it seem like normal citizens wouldn't protest.
Oh,
okay. These aren't law-abiding voting people.
Right, these are the scum of the, right, he's he's always on some separating people and causing strife and conflict with people.
Yeah.
But don't you think that's disingenuous to just have people believing that it's just a bunch of illegal, people just running around the United States and they're just
raping and pillaging.
Right. In reality, that's not what's going on and shit like that. Maybe,
I know they were coming.
Right. So, y'all, just, if anything, just do your research. The people that be so quick to tell somebody to do research, but then they won't do their own. Let's have one real quick. All right, y'all. So I just dropped Michelle off. I'm headed to work now, too. So enjoy today's episode. Enjoy the music, the clips, and the content. And go out and do something good for somebody today, y'all. All right, y'all. So the rally last night was good.
Yeah.
We went to it for a few minutes because we kind of got there a little late. It started at 6, so by the time we got there, they were already marching towards City Hall. So we parked, found a spot. We missed the first wave. Remember when we parked down by, on 3rd?
Yeah.
And then we started walking up, and we had just missed the crowd. I think they were going down Water Street. So then we ended up looping around, and we ended up catching the crowd and stuff, and marched and stuff, walked with people for a short little while. We had our dog we had Chewy with us, so it was kind of on the fly, but we just wanted to participate a little bit and show our support. Things were very peaceful, and there were a lot of people. I would say at least I'm guesstimating at least a few hundred people. What'd you say?
Oh, yeah.
Just
for
guesstimating.
For sure.
Yeah. And it was a pretty decent route. It was basically like a big square. Started at Cathedral, went down, what was that, Wells, I believe it was. Looped all the way, walked around Water, came back up, back to Cathedral, stuff like that. But I wanted to read some more information. I'm hoping the one coming up this weekend will be even bigger. It's called No King's Day. Excuse me, I was smoking a cigarette. Yeah, there's an event. It's nationwide. It's called No King's Day. And I'll just read a little information. If people want to get some more information, do your own research or whatever on it. But, so No King's Day is a nationwide day of defiance scheduled for Saturday, June 14th, which coincides with Flag Day, President Trump's birthday, and a planned military parade in Washington, D.C., commemorating the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary. So what is No King's Day all about? A protest against authoritarianism. No King's Day is organized as a coordinated reaction to what activists describe as increasing authoritarian moves by the Trump administration, such as high-profile immigration crackdowns, defiance of judicial limits, and the spectacle of a military parade tied to Trump's birthday. Mass mobilization across the United States. Over 1,500 to 1,800 events are planned nationwide on city blocks, courthouse steps, parks, and small towns, intentionally not in Washington, D.C., to make grassroots protests the focal point. Values of democracy over dominance. The movement's slogan is No Thrones, No Crowns, No Kings. Protests aim to affirm democratic principles and resist government display of military dominance and personality cults. Indivisible-led coalition. Spearheaded by Indivisible and backed by more than 180 partner groups like ACLU, Greenpeace, AFT, and CWA, this action is rooted in previous protests like Hands Off and the 50501 movement. Strictly peaceful by design, organizers emphasize nonviolent action, de-escalation, and lawful conduct, explicitly stating that weapons should not be brought to the protests. Why June 14th? U.S. Army's 250th birthday and Flag Day. Trump's 79th birthday. Planned parade in D.C. featuring tanks and military displays. Organizers argue that parade is a made-for-TV show of dominance, highlighting authoritarian symbolism coinciding with Trump's birthday, a message they oppose. So in our area, it says their events are being held in all 50 states, including Milwaukee and your surrounding area. Use the nokings.org website to locate local protest events and find a toolkit, training resources, and preparatory calls for attendees and hosts. So the bottom line, No King's Day is a coordinated, peaceful protest occurring June 14th, opposing the Trump-led parade in D.C. by promoting grassroots unity, democratic values, and resistance to authoritarian displays. It is drawn from a broad coalition led by the Indivisible and rooted in non-violence and democracy. So, yeah, if y'all are interested in that, go do some more research, yep. I got some details specifically about Milwaukee too, y'all. So, it's going to start, for Saturday, it's going to start at Cathedral Square Park, just like last night's rally did. So it's going to be at noon, between 12 noon and 1:30 p.m. at Cathedral Square Park, which is 520 East Wells Street. Once again, at Cathedral Square Park, y'all know where Jazz in the Park is? There. That's 520 East Wells Street. From 12 to 12:15, there will be gathering, chants, and community noise. Between 12:30 and 1 p.m., there will be a speaker series. and between 1 and 1:30, there will be a 1.2-mile march looping back to the park. No registration is required. Arrive at any time. And this is organized by Indivisible, Common Cause, Peace Action Wisconsin, League of Women Voters, and others. What to bring in focus: signs, posters labeled No Kings, pro-democracy messages, patriotic banners. Poster board materials will be available on site. Family and peace-focused chants, informational booths, and outreach. Sip and learn on militarization at 2:30 p.m. at Kumba Juice and Coffee, 274 East Keefe Avenue. Once again, so they're having some events as well, some supporting events in town. So they're having the Sip and Learn on militarization at 2:30 p.m. at Kumba Juice and Coffee, and that's 274 East Keefe Avenue. It's an educational session on Wisconsin's defense economy. Milwaukee's March to Gaza at 3 p.m. at Lincoln Memorial Drive. Solidarity rally organized by local peace and justice groups. Community Insight. There's people talking about it online too. People are talking about Cathedral Square Park at noon. So here's the summary, y'all. From 12 p.m. noon, rally starts with chants and speakers. This is for this coming up Saturday. 1 p.m. June 14th is Saturday. 1 p.m. there will be a 1.2-mile march back to the park. And at the end of that, till 1:30 p.m., optional events like Sip and Learn, Gaza Solidarity March. No sign-up is needed, and bring signs and join spontaneously.
They didn't say to bring water.
Yeah, dang, yeah.
Important to stay hydrated.
It is important to stay hydrated. So, yeah, make sure, bringing some water or whatever. If you happen to bring your dog or whatever, make sure they got, like, one of them things. We just bought a little vessel for Chewy. It, like, holds, like, a little bit of food and then water and stuff like that for when he's out and about with us. So, yeah, we're going to have nice weather today. It's supposed to get up to 82 today. It's crazy. Side note, I was just watching the news, and they were talking to the Detective Bonner that led the Sade Robinson case. Mm-hmm. And shout out Hannah Hilliard, WISN 12 News, Milwaukee. She was interviewing her, and she had asked her, if you could ask Max one thing right now, what would it be? You know what she said?
Where's most of her?
Where's her head? She said she went back to the park after the sentencing that same day, after the guilty verdict. She went back to the park. She said that's where she, met Sade. Basically, she said she hoped she did right by her and her family and stuff like that. Because Hannah Hilliard was like, I'm gonna guess you didn't know her before all this happened. And she was like, but do you feel like you know her now? And she was like, yeah. So she was just saying how, she was always, going back to the park, just kind of looking and just wondering, if she missed anything, It sounds, just from what I took from it, it sounds like she believes that head is somewhere in that park still. This is what I gather from the conversation. Because she was like, if her head's still in this park somewhere, or her body parts, basically, she was like, I would like to know, and I would set up stuff to basically have this place looked at again or checked. She would get her resources together, basically, and search that park again if she needed to. So it sounds to me, my opinion, sounds like she believes that head is in that park somewhere still. Because it's where's that book bag? Where's the tan book bag?
Because he got on the bus with it.
Right. So if there was nothing in your book bag, if it was just filled with a lot of stuff, but it's just nothing nefarious or whatever, then where's it at?
Yeah.
It would still be at your house, wherever it was, thrown on a couch in a closet. It'd still be at your house somewhere. So, for that to just be gone, mysteriously gone. Like, I believe that's where the head was. I don't know.
I don't know, because that book bag seemed kind of heavy.
That book bag was filled with all kinds of shit. It probably had her head in it.
The tools.
The right breast. And some tools and stuff, and probably some, like, clothing items, or, just shit that he used. I think he cut her up on that beach.
Yeah.
And he started throwing her body parts in the water and shit. And I think he wanted to save the right breast and the head. And one reason I think he didn't cut like the right side, because that's where, the left, wait, was it the left side? The left side of the torso is what kind of remained.
Yes.
So, like, did he not cut that up because that would have produced the most blood? Because those were all your major organs are on your left side.
Well, if she was already deceased, there wouldn't be any blood. There wouldn't be that much blood coming out.
No, I'm saying before he, like, started doing whatever to her, like, he didn't cut those parts up because it would have produced the most blood. Like, while you're chopping somebody up, I would assume. Because it's just odd to me how some of the left part didn't get, like the chest, that's where the heart is, your liver, all that stuff. So, I don't know, it's just crazy, but, it's a sad situation.
Hopefully someday it'll be found.
If it didn't get thrown in the water, because that head isn't going to float.
Right.
That's just going to sink.
That's the other thing, like maybe it is in the lake and just drifted.
Just drifted.
And it will never be found.
Never be found.
By the time it is found, it'll just be a skull.
It'll be a skull.
So, it literally could be anywhere.
And the other reason they want to find the head, too, is because it'd probably give you a lot of insight into exactly how...
And just closure.
And that, too.
For the family. Can they really ever...
No.
Have closure? No.
Never. Yeah, it was supposed to be in the 80s the other day here in Milwaukee. Styles P and Talib Kweli.
The usual suspects. When it comes to this rap shit, we ain't come here for the chit chat. Kill all the yapping, let's make it happen. Come thinking with Styles P. When it comes to this rap shit, we ain't come here for the chit chat. Kill all the yapping, let's make it happen. As time goes by, an eye for an eye. That's the best way to keep everybody fly. When the truth is in the building, know these lies gon' die. Cause like my man Chaz Van say, the vibe don't lie. But get your hands up in the sky, waving from side to side. Cause I'm 20 years plus, still killing it, right? This Marco Polo off the Rick, the man is 9.5. You make the earthquake, I'm shaking it up like Fort Line. And when I talk about vibe, what I mean is organic. Like planting seeds for the trees we need to breathe on the planet. Indeed, really take the planet for granted. Bulldoze the granite that's standing rotten. Wonder then we wonder why the planet hot. Made in this image, are we worshiping the man or not? The uncomfortable feeling every time I hear planet rock. Disappointed in the leadership and the God. Evidence is more than the images. The camera shot. You follow blind faith to make it seem unclean. But faith is only evidence of things unseen. Cause information make it harder for us to follow the stuff. So educated, yes, speak. Wild assumption. Information leads to knowledge. Knowledge leads to wisdom. Wisdom leads to understanding. Once you have all that, you start demanding justice. Justice is what love looks like in public. I ain't just writing for it, I'm out here fighting for it. We some real motherfuckers on the rise. Under pressure but over the line. Stand up, hands up, close to the sky. While they say the world up for my 9.5. We some real motherfuckers on the rise. What up, God? Under pressure but over the line. Stand up, hands up, close to the sky. While they say the world up for my 9.5. No more tears right now, no more years. And we can do a million protests, no one cares. Cause we should get all out of character and throw some cheers. Eventually they burn us out and tell us go somewhere. But the love is too genuine and wholesome here. That's why the light ain't too bright, but the road looks clear. Yeah, personally I got my bread as a crook. But once I finished with the work, I dip my head in the foot. There's room in the bed, either at the head or the foot. I tell you this, hip-hop ain't as dead as it looks. No, diversions to cover up the lies. We some real motherfuckers on the rise. What?
We some real motherfuckers on the rise. Under pressure, but over the line. Stand up, hands up, close to the sky. About to shade the world up for my 9.5. We some real motherfuckers on the rise. Under pressure, but over the line. Stand up, hands up, close to the sky. About to shade the world up for my 9.5.
As time goes by, the 949, you don't hear tears drop when a young child cries. Made a God image, but tell me, do God lying and deceiving? Is it racism in the sky? I believe in God, but not me a word here. Yeah, got my third eye. Wish I had my third ear, 7 cents. Got my 6th sense in third gear. On the highway to hell, nerd have swerve fear. It's deep talk or street talk. It's war talk or it's peace talk. Give the hem paper, tear the leaf off. Spoke like the wolf, but you're acting all sleep, dog.
So we are down here, y'all.
Yep, they're going to City Hall.
At the rally, y'all. Started at Cathedral Square.
Oh my gosh.
The Ice Out rally here in Milwaukee. Up. Started at Cathedral Square. Marching on down there to, it looks like they're stopping at City Hall. So we're just looking to see if we can park somewhere and maybe get out for a few minutes and walk with the peeps. We do have Chewy with us. We saw a couple people with their dogs, though, so once I saw that, yep. I feel like their dog, the dog that we did see, their dog might be a little more trained.
Yeah,
Chewy's so rambunctious, he's going to be wanting everyone to touch him and look at me.
Yeah. See if we can.
So yeah, we're just driving down through downtown Milwaukee right now. We're just headed down Wisconsin Avenue, about to bust us right on Plankinton, and see if we can catch up with the crowd. Oh, there's something going on in Riverside too. I see some people waiting outside. Look, maybe they're waiting for tickets or something.
Probably.
It's summertime coming though, definitely, y'all. Y'all can just tell. It just feels different.
It's okay, buddy.
Chewy's like, all the people.
All the people that want to say hello to me.
All right, y'all. We'll be back in a second. We're just trying to figure out what we're doing here. What were those, like those 3-wheel motorcycles or whatever? He's bumping that shit. Yeah, it's definitely summertime coming, y'all. You can smell the food being cooked. You can see people walking around. You can tell they're about 7 or 8 beers in. They're looking to go get more. I don't know if the brewers are in town. I love seeing all the Latino people and Chewy.
He loves seeing them too. He loves seeing
the Latinas and the Latinos.
all the people.
All the Afro-Latinas and the Afro-Latinos. Yeah, it's looking like everyone's heading down to City Hall right now. There's a lot of construction going on, too.
Yeah. Left or right?
Right. So I have a question. I wonder if y'all feel the same or if you ever wonder about it, too. But one of the things I always wonder about is, like, okay, so they say, there's a reckless driving issue here, in Wisconsin and Milwaukee. It's everywhere, though, people driving all super fast, reckless, whatever, you know what I mean? Stealing cars, just all that stuff, right? So, as far as, like, with the speeding and the reckless driving and stuff, right? So, if the goal of law enforcement is to truly stop speeding, right? If the goal is to truly stop speeding, you don't want people speeding, right? You don't want them speeding. Why do the cops hide themselves then? A lot of times when you see, I didn't say all the time, but a lot of times, like when you see cops like trying to catch speeders or whatever, you'll kind of see them ducked off, or they'll be kind of like, you know, off to the, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like, it's like their car is almost hidden. And they're just sitting there waiting, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you hiding? If you want people to not speed, then they need to see, you need to be seen, so the speeding doesn't happen. Because if not, then everything is just reactionary. You're like catching someone after they've been speeding. And then you're giving them a ticket. You know, it's like, okay, fine, you caught the speeder, you gave him a ticket, him or her a ticket. But you didn't stop the speeding. It's just it's counterproductive to me. Because at that point, if that's what you're doing, then at that point it looks to me like you got, like, the city or the town or wherever you're from, it looks like you guys are just trying to make money at that point. You know, giving people speeding tickets. That's what it looks like to me. And the other issue, too, I was having, I wonder if y'all think about this, too. Like at stores, like where there could be a grocery store, a shopping mall, you know, anywhere where, you know, you go in and, you know, purchase things or whatever. So, like, with that, you know, like when you go into a store, like you'll see, like, the, where they call themselves, like, loss prevention. And a lot of times, like, they'll be in plain clothes. They'll try to, like, hide and just, you know, blend in with everyone else and make it look like they're a customer and they're just shopping and stuff like that. And in reality, you know, there'll be an undercover cop or a loss prevention person, you know, trying to catch people in there stealing shit. But like with that, like, why are you hiding? Why are you disguising yourself? Why are you trying to be incognito and all that? And, you know what I mean? Because if the goal is to prevent and to keep people from stealing the shit, then why are you hiding? Wouldn't you want, if the goal is to keep people from if you want people to not steal shit, right, in the first place, right, you want to prevent the stealing, then why wouldn't you have people posted up in security gear or, you know, police gear or whatever if they're in the store? Why wouldn't you want that to be known? So it's just like, someone walks in, they're thinking about stealing, they're like, oh shit, that's a loss prevention dude or a loss prevention woman. But if you're hiding and you got plain clothes on and you're making it seem like you're just a customer too, but in reality you're a cop, it's like, to me, it defeats the purpose. It's like, why are you trying to hide and, you know, and all that kind of, and be all incognito and try to, like, sneak up on people stealing? So it's like you want people to steal and then catch them? Or potentially steal, not get caught, and then leave out the store with the item or the items? Like, isn't the goal to prevent the theft? You see what I mean? So, like, if that's the goal, if that's the true goal, well, then why are you hiding and dressed in different kind of clothes and all that kind of stuff? If the true goal is to stop the stealing, then wouldn't you want to be seen so people don't steal? I mean, right? Am I right or wrong? How does that not make any sense? Because to me, then it's just disingenuous. Like, I don't understand that. Like, if I know someone's stealing or whatever, you know that people steal from stores, right? You just know that that's a thing, right? There's theft. That's just. So if you're setting up your store or business or whatever it is, and the goal is to keep people from stealing, then why wouldn't you be in plain view? Instead of hiding and being all secretive and trying to do all this and hide behind the corner and make it look like you're shopping and shit too, but in reality you're sitting there watching somebody.
That's dumb. That doesn't make sense. It's ass backwards. It defeats the purpose of what your goal is supposed to be. So I don't, you know what I mean? Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm just about at work. Enjoy the music, clips, and content. All right, y'all. Peace. Back to this episode.